Hey everyone, and welcome. If you've ever fired up a new Unity project, stared at that blank, empty scene, and just thought, okay, now what? Then you are in exactly the right place. In this explainer, we're going to take this pretty basic, kind of broken scene and step by step turn it into a fun, playable little world. We're not just going to show you what to click. We're going to dig into why you're clicking it. By the time we're done here, you'll have the core skills to start building your own levels from scratch. So let's jump right in. So here's the plan for today. First up, we're going to get our player car set up correctly, so it actually looks and feels like a car. Then, we'll do some super important housekeeping to get our scene organized. Trust me, this is a habit you want to build now. After that, we'll make our world solid so you can actually bump into stuff. And then, the fun really starts when we get to design our very own neighborhood. We'll wrap it all up with a few polishing touches and talk about where you can go from here.
Okay, so this is where we're starting. We've got a scene with a bunch of assets already dropped in for us, but things are, well, they're not quite right. In a second, you'll see that our player character is not a car. The physics feel kind of weird and floaty, and our project hierarchy on the side is, to be honest, a complete mess. Our mission is to tackle every single one of these issues one by one and build a world that's actually fun to drive around in. Let's start with the most glaring problem. The second you hit that play button at the top of the editor, you'll notice we're not driving a cool car. Nope. We are driving this default, plain white capsule. This is the very first thing we need to fix to make our game feel less like a tech demo and more like, a game about a car. All right, let's get our hands dirty, then make our player character look and feel right. This whole section is all about swapping out the generic capsule for our actual car, and then, just as importantly, fixing the physics so it actually collides like a car too. Okay, so this first fix is actually really simple. First, look over to your hierarchy panel, that's the list on the left side of your screen, find the player object, ours has the amazing name Cruzy McDrive, and just click on it to select it. Now shift your eyes over to the right to the inspector window. This shows you all the building blocks or components that make up our object. We're looking for one called the sprite renderer. This component literally just tells Unity what 2D picture to show for this object. You'll see a field called sprite. Go ahead and click that little circular target icon right next to it. And that's going to pop open a new window that shows us all the images or sprites that we have available in our project. Now, to find what we need fast, just go to the search bar at the top of that window and type in car. A few options should pop up. I'm kind of digging the look of car 3, so I'm just going to double click on that one. The window closes, and you should see right away that capsule in your scene has transformed into our car. Now, go ahead and hit that play button. And boom, we are now driving a car. That already feels a million times better. But as you start to drive around, you'll probably notice something's a little bit weird. When you drive up to one of the houses or a rock, the car stops, but it stops a few feet away without even touching it. It's like our car has this big, invisible bubble around it, a bubble that's shaped exactly like that old capsule we just got rid of. So, what's the deal here? Well, we changed what the car looks like, but we never told the physics engine about the change. In its mind, it's still calculating all the bumps and crashes based on that old, tall capsule shape. We have to manually go in and update the physical shape to match our new car's sprite. So here's the breakdown. The problem is that our car object still has that invisible capsule collider component attached to it. It's a leftover from the placeholder. The solution has two parts. First, we're going to just delete that old capsule shape. Get it out of here. Second, we're going to take the box collider that's also on the object and just resize it so it fits our car's rectangular shape like a glove. Let's do it right now. With your Cruzy McDrive car still selected, look back over at the inspector. Just scroll down through the components until you find the one named Capsule Collider. To get rid of it for good, just right-click right on its name bar, and from that little menu that pops up, hit Remove Component. And just like that, it's gone. Perfect. On to part 2. Find the Box Collider 2D component, which should already be there, and click on the Edit Collider button. The second you click it, you'll see a green outline with little square grab handles appear around your car in the main scene view. This green box is its new physical body. It's what the physics engine actually sees. So now all you have to do is click and drag those little handles and just resize the box until it fits nice and snug around the car. A little pro tip here, I like to make it just a tiny bit smaller than the actual art, so the tires might just barely overlap an object before you hit it. It just tends to feel a little more natural. And now our collisions are going to be way, way more accurate. Okay, our player is set up and feeling good, but now it's time to tackle a problem that every single new project faces, the absolute chaos in our hierarchy. Keeping your project organized is so important, especially as your levels get bigger. So let's get in there and tame this mess. I mean, just take a look at our hierarchy panel over on the left. It is just one giant, endless list of every single house, rock, tree, and piece of road in our scene. Can you imagine if we had 100 trees? Trying to find one specific rock in that massive list would be a total nightmare. We can do so much better than this. And the main tool we're going to use for this job is called an empty game object. The absolute best way to think about this is like an invisible folder on your computer's desktop. It doesn't show up in the game, it doesn't have any special powers, its entire job is just to be a container, a bucket that we can put other objects into to keep our scene looking clean. Making one is super simple. Just go to any empty spot in your hierarchy panel and right-click. From that menu, go up and select Create Empty. You'll see a new thing called Game Object appear in the list, and its name will already be highlighted. This is the perfect time to give it a name that actually makes sense. Let's call ours World Objects. Okay, now hold on. Before you do anything else, here is a golden rule. This is a habit that will save you from pulling your hair out later. Whenever you create an empty object like this to use as a folder, you should always reset its transform. The transform is what holds the object's position, rotation, and scale. By resetting it, we're making sure our folder is sitting perfectly at the center of our world at position 000. If you forget to do this, and later you try to move that main folder, all the objects inside can move in really strange and unpredictable ways. So let's just avoid that problem entirely. So here's how you do it. Make sure your new World Objects container is selected. Now look at the inspector. The transform component is always right there at the top. Don't click the little gear icon on the right. Instead, right-click directly on the word transform itself. A little menu will pop up, just click Reset, and you'll see its position and rotation all snap to 0, and the scale snaps to 1. Perfect. And now, for the magic part. Actually grouping everything. Go back to your hierarchy. Click on the very first object in that long list of scenery. For me, it's a house. Now press and hold the Shift key on your keyboard. While you're holding Shift, scroll all the way down and click on the very last scenery object. That should select everything in between. Now, just click and hold on that big blue selected block, drag it up until your mouse is right on top of our World Objects container, and let go. What we've just done here is called parenting. You'll see that all those objects are now slightly indented underneath our container. They have become children of the World Objects container, and that makes our World Objects container their parent. This is the official lingo Unity uses, and you will hear and use these terms all the time. And look at the result, a beautifully clean and organized hierarchy. We can now just click that little arrow next to World Objects to collapse the whole list and hide all that clutter. It makes finding things so much easier. And even better, if we ever wanted to move our entire town 5 feet to the left, we can now just move the one parent object and all of its children will come along for the ride. It's just so much cleaner and more efficient. Okay, our scene is looking organized, but we've still got another physics issue to sort out. We've got all these houses and rocks and trees, but if you hit play right now, you'll find out that you can just drive right through them like they're holograms. So let's make these walls, actually solid. Seriously though, what's the fun in having a world full of obstacles if you can just phase through them like a ghost? It totally breaks the illusion of being in a real place. We need to tell Unity's physics engine that these objects are solid barriers that our car should definitely crash into. Luckily, this is another really easy fix. And the best part is we can do it to all the houses at once. So first, click the little arrow to expand your World Objects container if it's collapsed. Now, select all of your house objects. You can do this by holding down the Control key or Command on a Mac and clicking each one individually. With all the houses selected, go over to the inspector and click that big Add Component button at the bottom. A search box will appear. Just start typing Box Collider 2D, and when it pops up in the list, click on it to add it. And that's literally it. Unity automatically added a Box Collider 2D to every single house we had selected. Now, if you press play and try to drive into one, you'll get a nice, satisfying thud as you collide with it. You can follow this exact same process for any other object you want to make solid, like the rocks or the trees. All right, the technical heavy lifting is done. We have a car that works, physics that makes sense, and a scene that's nice and tidy. Now, the real fun begins. It's time to stop fixing things and start creating something. Let's design our own little neighborhood to drive around in. So, here is your challenge. I want you to take all the assets we have, the roads, the houses, the trees, the rocks, and just build a simple, fun little area to explore. It could be a small racetrack, a little town square, whatever you want.
Don't worry about making it perfect. The goal right now is just to practice moving things around and create a fun little sandbox for your car. Now, to help you build really fast, here are a few killer tips. First, your new best friend is the duplicate shortcut. That's Control+D on Windows or Command+D on a Mac. Just click on anything and hit that combo and you'll get an instant copy. It's way faster than dragging stuff in from your project folder. Now, to make sure everything doesn't look identical, always rotate and scale your duplicates a little bit. It adds so much life. And please, don't stress about getting the roads to line up perfectly. We're just having fun and blocking things out. And finally, build as big as you want. Don't worry if you go way outside the camera's view. We'll deal with that later.
I'm going to speed up the footage here just to show you how I'm approaching it. You can see I'm starting with the big road pieces to lay down the main path. Now I'm just hammering that Control+D key to duplicate houses and place them around. I think I'll add a roundabout here in the middle just to make things more interesting. And now I'll sprinkle in some trees and rocks, always making sure to rotate them a little so they don't all look the same. Okay, this is your cue. Hit that pause button and go build your own awesome level. Have fun with it, and I'll see you back here in a minute.
And welcome back. I hope you had some fun with that and now have a really cool, unique neighborhood to call your own. We are on the home stretch now. This last section is all about adding just a couple of small but really effective finishing touches that are going to make our whole scene feel so much more polished and complete. The very first thing you probably noticed, especially if you built a bigger level, is that the camera is way too zoomed in. We just spent all this time creating this cool world and we can barely even see it. It's kind of hard to drive when you can only see about 5 feet in front of your car. Thankfully, this is another one-click fix. In your hierarchy, find the main camera object and select it. Then look over in the inspector for the camera component. The very first property you see there is called size. In the 2D game, this number basically controls your zoom level. The default is 5. Let's just try changing that to a bigger number, something like 12, and hit enter. And just like that, you'll see in the game view that our camera has pulled way back, giving us a much better bird's eye view of our world.
All right, one last tiny tweak that makes a surprisingly big difference to the vibe of our game. By default, Unity scenes have this solid, bright blue background. It's fine, I guess, but it's a little boring, and it doesn't really fit the whole grassy outdoor theme we've got going on with our town.
With your main camera still selected, look at its component in the inspector one more time. Right underneath that size property we just changed, you'll see a field called background with a blue color box next to it. Just click that color box. A color picker will pop up and you can choose literally any color you want. I'm gonna go for a nice, pleasant, grassy green that sort of matches our trees. It just ties the whole visual theme together.
And there you have it. Let's just take a breath for a second and look back at everything we just did. We swapped our player sprite and fixed its collision. We organized our entire scene using parenting, which is a fundamental skill in Unity. We made our world solid and interactive. We got creative and designed a completely custom level. And we just put the finishing touches on with the camera and background. That is a ton of stuff to accomplish in one go. You should be really proud of the world you've just built. You officially have a playable, custom-built world. But that immediately brings up a new, really important question. We just built this awesome level, but what happens the moment we drive too far? We just drive right off the screen into nothingness. So how do we make the camera follow our car no matter where it goes? Well, that is the perfect next step on your game development journey.